Hi everyone, welcome. Today we're going to continue our Lovable tutorial or introduction. And last time we covered basics of Lovable, like what is Lovable, pricing, basic navigation, and what you can do in the app, in the tool. If you haven't checked that one, you have a video called Lovable Simplified Introduction. So check that video first before continuing with this one. Now, today I'm going to take our project or simple website we have created last time, and I want to talk about the actual publish or deployment. So my plan is also to cover some basic terms and to explain how it works in general when you have a website and then magically that website is available. And then I'm going to show you how to do it in Lovable, and we'll talk about different ways you have. So in general, when you open a browser, you give URL. So what is a URL? So URL is this name or address you give into the search. So in this case, it's lovable.dev. So you want the same for your website. So you want your website to be publicly available. So you want your website to be listed in Google search, and you want your website to be accessible to your customers, clients, or your audience. So how it works in general. So when you open a browser, and when you give URL, that URL is actually resolved in the background. So it's literally an address to your website. So your website, it has to live somewhere, right? So you build your website with Lovable or maybe using different tools, but that website must be stored somewhere in a super simplified way. So basically that is probably heard about hosting, web hosting, website hosting. So that hosting is actually somewhere there is a server and your website is actually kind of installed on that server. So when you enter URL in the browser, you have been redirected to that particular server, and then you get that website in your browser. Simple as that. URL is a simple address. Think about it as same as address book. You have URL and then you go physically somewhere in front of the building or house, and then you can enter that building. So in Lovable, once you create your project, then you do some adjustments and you want to finally publish it. So publish generally means you're done and then you want to open the website to be publicly available. You have a button called publish here, publish your project. And by default, Lovable is going to give you a Lovable URL. So if you check this name here, you see that we have something name that you can change, and then you have .lovable app. So this here is the part that you can change by default, and you can just type whatever you want. If there is no other project with the same URL, so you can just say like simple 1, 2, 3, and you can save this. All right, and now you have two options here. So option one is you can leave it as is, and you can click continue, and then your app is or website is going to be available in browser when you enter simple web app 123.lovable.app. Now you can do that, it's perfectly fine, but you usually want to connect your custom domain. So it is just domain of your business. So you usually want to connect custom domain so that clients can find you. For example, I could, for an example, for my own website, for my own company, I could build something with Lovable, and then it could be 10softlab.lovable.app, but I don't want to have Lovable app in a browser when clients are trying to find me. I just want to have my custom domain, softlab.com. And that is the piece that you do, or that is the part that you do with custom domain. So you don't want to use the one that Lovable gave you, but you want to use your own custom domain. So we are going to skip this part for now because there are different ways to purchase a domain and to register it here. For now, we are just going to click continue. So when we click continue, we have a few options here. By default, public. So anyone with the URL can open it. You usually want this, or if you're building internal, then you can do like only members of your workspace in Lovable. So those are other team members or other users who are inside of the same Lovable workspace. Or you can even, but those are business options, you can even select few members. So imagine if you have 20 or 50 team members and you all build with Lovable. So you build something and you want to share with one colleague only. In that case, you would use selected members. But for now, we are going to skip this. And for most of you, just public is going to be fine. So I'm going to continue. Now, publishing, when we are doing publish, we also can adjust a few things. So this is important for all those search engines. If you haven't heard about that term, so when you build a piece of software website, especially for your business, you want your customers and clients to easily find you. So in some rare cases, your clients will just enter your URL, will just know that your company is test company and they know that your website is, or that your domain is testcompany.com. They're going to type testcompany.com. Usually they're going to write parts of your like keywords to find your business. So there's a whole industry called search engine optimization. Now it's changing a bit with the AI, but basically you want end goal for your website is always to be listed on the first page in Google search. So here, what you ideally you want to give something that will help, something related to your brand, maybe some kind of services. You want to give icon like your logo, and then you want to. For now, we're going to skip logo, but we're going to have title called simple lovable app description. So there's always like question on there's always like this thing of what do you actually put into the description. So here you have a preview when someone is when someone finds your website in Google. So this is what they're going to see. In the description, usually it's a couple of sentences just briefly describing, and you usually the goal is to put few keywords that are really related to your business into the description itself. So maybe you will put something like learning platform or best cleaning services in New York, cheap, affordable taxi in Valencia, Spain, something that is just meaningful for your clients. Simple, lovable app or something. Now continue, and this is the final step is deep security scan. We are going to skip this for now. This is relevant and important when you start connecting backend, different integrations into your website, login functionality, and so on. For now, our website is super simple, so we can skip this step, but you can also run the scan. So basically, AI is going through the code and it's trying to analyze the code to find potential issues. Then we do publish. As you can see, basic security scan already passed automatically. All right, after, let's say, 20, 30 seconds, our app is live, and now we can just view app, and we can see that our website is now publicly available. Now, right away, you will notice a few things like this badge, edit with Lovable. So this is something that you always usually want to remove from your project. In order to get rid of this badge, you can close it here. But if you refresh again, badge will be there. So in order to get rid of this badge, you go to, just move this a bit, you open project settings. So in order to open project settings, in the upper left corner, there is a settings part, And there you have, let me just find this. And you have, just find this labels. You have hide lovable badge. This is, I think, only, it won't work with free. I think you need to be on this 25 bucks account. Right. Updating visibility badge, updating lovable, and see, now it's, and let's see what we can do now with publish. Now, your website is live, but if you do changes, add content, rename something, it doesn't mean that those changes are deployed or available to your customers right away. So you have to do publish again. So in software industry, we often use term deployment. So you do some changes in Lovable or locally using AI, and then you change the code, then you have to do something with this code in order for that code to be available to the broader audience. In our case, we have Lovable as a tool. We change things in a UI, we use prompts, we do different things. Once we are done, then we click publish. So we are redeploying the changes. So to demonstrate that, I'm going to use one feature that I really like, and it is visual editor of the content. So you don't have to use AI prompt to change every single thing. Yes, you will burn through your credits, and for bigger things you want to do it. But if you just want to change simple text, then you can just do it like double click using this. So you will click on this edit text inline. You will just paste here and done. You'll just remove the cursor, click somewhere else, and it's done. So no need to use AI to build this. Now you see that we have one text change, send. All right. I think this is slightly changed now. So I believe previously it was just here, say without doing anything in the prompt kind of. But all right. So now you will see that on the publish, there is this tiny white icon, and this will tell you that, hey, something you have some changes that are still not published. So you have something that you see here, but when your customers open it, they will still see the old version of the app. So in order to deploy or republish, so you click on publish again, and you click update. Updating will take a few minutes. Actually, not a few minutes. I guess in this case, it will be more like 20 seconds. Maybe a bit more. The bigger the app, the more time it takes to upload or to publish again. Right? Reload. Done. So this is the constant process. You do some changes, you verify them in Lovable, and then you publish. Now let's go back to our custom domain. So what do you need to do in order to get custom domain? So in order to get custom domain, you have to buy that domain. That's a standard process. That was before AI, before Lovable, and it's going to be in the future as well. So in order to have your own domain, you need to buy it. Now, you have many really good websites where you can buy domain. You're actually more like leasing the domain, to be technically correct. Usually you take it on a yearly basis, but I think you can do it with most of them on like 3 or 5 years. Now, when it comes to the cost, it's usually around, let's say, for some basic domains that are not exotic, that are not already, because some domains have already been purchased, and if you want to buy them, you'll have to pay a lot of money. For example, domains like application.com or spain.com, for an example. And sometimes those domains, there are companies who are just, or individuals who are just purchasing domains, and they are just holding them like an investment. And then once there is someone interested into buying, they sell it like way more. Like if you buy it like for 20 bucks per year, you might sell it for, I don't know, 5,000. There are different stories when Google engineer, I believe, Google.com domain expires. So Google, one of the Google engineers bought the domain or something like that. So funny stories about domain. Anyhow, so round about 20 US dollars per year. Sometimes a bit more, sometimes it's a bit less. On some domain, it's a bit. They have different options, some discounts, and so on. So websites that I usually use to buy domains, you can do it through Lovable directly, and Lovable has good integration with Ionos. So Ionos is pretty popular for hosting provider and also for, so they offer hosting, means you can buy domains, emails, and so on. They're really popular and big in US and Spain and Germany and everywhere. So you can use Ionos, and Ionos has a really good integration with Lovable. So it's super easy, and we are probably going to show it right away. You can use GoDaddy, another big player. I think my own domain is no, it's not. You can use GoDaddy, you can use HostGator, use cloud services, you can use Cloudflare, you can use many of them. Now, the fastest option here is you click Add Custom Domain, and then you have Buy New Domain. So you also can't do this with a free, so this is only included in Pro plan. So you can buy a new domain, you can connect domain. So if you already have a domain, you purchased a domain a while ago through provider, then you have an option to connect the domain. So Lovable is, so technically, in order to connect existing domain with Lovable, there's something called name servers. So behind every domain, there are like two. So every domain has to be connected with this so-called name server. So it's a particular address of a particular server. Now, if you have a domain and you want to connect it with your Lovable website, so Lovable is going to give you those two values that you need to put in your provider. Lovable has pretty good integration with most, like I won't say all of or most of the big players, but with quite a few. So you can just enter your domain, and then it will just redirect you to your domain provider, and then you can just do it in a few clicks. So we're going to skip this step, and we are going to buy a new domain, and we can just use simple, let's say simple.com. You say it's not available, but my simple tech is available. So tech.com. All right, so this domain is available, and you can see that it's for 11. It is for $11 per year. AI domains, they're like hot topic now, so they're quite expensive. So .ai, so .com, .ai, .org, those are all like domain endings. So AI is now super popular. That's why domains are more expensive. But .com one is like a most commonly used. App is also interesting if you're building a SaaS. So .app, .software, .dev, all options. .shop really depends on what you build. If, for example, here you see the Lovable.shop is like $3, but I would always recommend to go with a comp domain plus one of shop, dev, software, app if you need, because .com is a standard. So if you have a domain with just .org, people will sometimes just tend to use just .com by default. So get the com domain. So if I click this one, now we see that exactly this is what I've been talking about. So you can buy it for like 10 years, and you can see for 10 years it's $111. Auto renew means if you do yearly renew, if you do, for example, yearly or 2 years, auto renew is really great, because if you don't renew domain, it's going to expire and someone else will be able to buy it. So if you have popular product and you don't, it's not going to happen really automatically, and you're going to get a lot of emails. But if you just ignore those emails, and if you don't renew, and if you don't have auto renewal or auto renew in this case, it can happen that someone is if you don't renew it, someone might buy your domain, and then you'll have a problem. Registration details. Here we need to enter registration details about the company, and this is the name that is going to be associated with the domain. So once you're done, you just click confirm, and then basically that's it. So let me see if I can just go back and buy one single domain. So something that we can use for teaching purposes. Lovable simplify.com. Say something that is interesting. Yeah, let's take this one. Lovable simplify.live. I'm going to ignore auto renewal for now, and I'm going to add my details here. Right. All right. So I was redirected to Stripe to process the payment. So I've paid. It was $2.57, and your domain has been registered. It should be fully active within 30 minutes, but it can take up to a day. Why? Why is not available right away? So there is something called DNS. You've probably heard about it. So DNS stands, let's just check it together. So domain name system. It's a phone book of the internet. So what we already discussed with the addresses and connection between the actual websites and the domains. So when you buy a new domain, it has to be propagated. So how it works under the hood. So you have a lot of DNS domain name servers, system servers all around. So you have some entries locally, and there is a bunch of them all around the world. So when there is new domain purchased and registered, so it has to be propagated to all of them so that someone in the US and Canada and South Africa and Australia, so that they can all find your website. And it's not an easy task. So sometimes it can take up to a few hours. With Lovable, I believe that it's pretty fast. So I think last time it took me maybe, I don't know, let's say up to an hour. So yeah, we'll see for now. And yeah, so for now, I think that's it for this video. So I'm going to stop recording now, and yeah, we'll take it from this custom domain, and then see you next time. Thank you.